What stop is this? Balagoya or Kakovta? But from the local station, they are saying this is Yakroma, right here. Well, where else would you ride the most beautiful, in my opinion, socialist minibus, which shares this title with our RAV 977? The members of the CMEA really knew how to make beautiful cars. And honestly, it didn't take much brains to do it. All you needed was the desire and the corrupting scent of the West, blowing in through the cracks of the Iron Curtain. First and foremost, the overall dimensions are about the same as the UAZ and the Rafik. But it's more comfortable to sit in, more spacious, and you actually drive the car instead of just trying to haul something somewhere in a mechanical coffin. Didn't quite get that? Oh well, never mind. These days, there are just an epic number of radar detectors on the market. But what should a modern radar detector actually do? It should detect cameras from as far away as possible and pick up as little interference as possible. All manufacturers are struggling with this dilemma, but no one has managed to solve this problem. To solve it, that is. Or rather, no one had. Until the new Sochi Pro device appeared. The engineers used a horn antenna, installed an LNA amplifier, and put an anti-cast interference filter right on the device's circuit board. How did our brotherly Polish nation start producing minibuses? It all began when one of the furniture factories, with a name that's hard for Russians to pronounce, was decided to be repurposed into a car manufacturing plant. And they named it. Read it yourselves, lispers. It roughly translates as van factory. Well, logically, making furniture, even really good furniture, is one thing, but making cars is something else entirely. But the Poles managed it. This is essentially the third coming of the Nysa. The car was named after the city where it was made, but of course, our comrades immediately nicknamed it Nysa. So cute! The first vehicle was model number 50. The second was the N521, and the third, our N522. Officially, the Nysa 521 was introduced in 1968, and the bus was a big hit. But ours is the second one, which means the only difference is the roof height. The roof took 10 years to develop, so 1978 can be considered its year of birth. The vehicle has a body-on-frame construction. The frame is straight and parallel, made from channel sections. Absolutely primitive and simple. The cabin itself is also a simple frame structure, overall dimensions. Length 4,500 millimeters. Width 1,760 millimeters. Height 2,235 millimeters. It's a bit rough, a bit crooked, but kinda cute. Semi-bonnet laid out. This was done to increase the space inside the cabin. However, if you open the hood, you can hardly reach the engine. It's not that simple. Oops. Air intake, radiator, and that's it. You can only drain the water. Many of our compatriots mistakenly believe that the Nysa was built using domestic components and assemblies. Gas parts. Not entirely accurate. The Nysa was designed based on the local clone of the Pobeda in Warsaw. And although the Warsaw was a licensed clone, it had a number of its own features. In particular, it had a completely local production of components. It looks similar, but it's not the same. You'll understand when we get to a more specific part. Now, let's talk about the front suspension. It's independent and uses springs. This lever suspension has shock absorbers and kingpins. It looks similar to ours, but gas parts won't fit directly. If you managed it, it simplifies future maintenance. At the back, it looks dull and ordinary, but it's a joy when driving. There's a split axle on leaf springs. And that's it, there's nothing else to see underneath, because there's really nothing there at all. Just like with our own mini buses from that period. And that period was rich in small buses. Which ones? Write your answers in the comments. There are quite a few doors here. Let's start with the passenger compartment. For entry, there's just one. The rear door, as it should be, is a cargo door. But as was typical for Soviet vehicles from various corners of the Eastern Bloc, this van could also transport the wounded. A cargo passenger version. Is the loading high? Well, they didn't lift cargo from the ground. The payload capacity is 822 kilograms. Don't believe it? That's your problem. There were 5 main interior configurations, with the most basic being the cargo F521, and the most luxurious being the passenger M521 for 9 passengers. Well, how fancy was it really? Leather, a fancy face, air conditioning. Yes, the leather is plastic up front on the dashboard, and the air conditioning is a hatch that opens in 2 directions. Is it comfortable? The most important thing about this car is that it's bright inside. And it's spacious too. And everything is finished very neatly. It's proletarian, but with Polish meticulousness, which without a doubt immediately made all Nysa vans feel like foreign cars. Now let's walk around and get in through the driver's door, and I'll show you the most important thing. The engine. Visually, again, it looks like ours. But for some reason, it's better and more reliable. This is the S21, of course, from the Warszawa, which traces its roots back to the Pobeda. First and foremost, it's an overhead valve engine. The valves are operated by a camshaft, push rods, pin rods, and rocker arms. The block is cast iron with dry-type sleeves. The engine displacement is 2,120 cubic centimeters with a compression ratio of 7.5. Maximum power is achieved at 4,000 RPM. That's pretty convenient. And again, why the semi-hood layout? Because the engine is neither outside nor in the cabin. Remember those UAZs and RAFs where the hip completely got in the way of sitting comfortably? Oh, it's upside down. That's what it means to do it for the first time. But here, everything is convenient and closes with a single fastener, not a billion different plugs. Alright, I'll close it later. What do we have here? I've already talked about how things are a bit crooked and rough. Did you see how the mirrors are mounted straight through the pillar? It's just a piece of metal that goes in and hooks on with claws. Weld seams are sticking out everywhere. But at least there's an ashtray, and clearly, probably, most likely also from, oh lord, the Polish Pobeda. Well, what's it called? Write it in the comments. The seating position is comfortable, great, but unusual. The clutch foot doesn't press on the pedal. It slides under the cavity, under the dashboard. Well, there's a glove compartment, buttons, pretty cool. With vibrant red elements, the emergency hazard warning lights. Alright, it is time to start up. Choke halfway, ignition on, as we move. Alright, let's get moving forward right now. Okay, let's warm up a bit. But the main thing is the power, 70 horsepower, while the Pobeda had 50. And no matter how hard our comrades tried, they couldn't squeeze out 70. But the Poles managed to. How? But the driving style is still ours. It's silly to talk about hitting 100 kilometers an hour. It was never pushed that fast. The Nysa could do it, but who actually did? Swaying over bumps and a pleasant ride into reality. Drivers praised the Nysa. With proper scheduled maintenance and all that, they could easily run 130,000 kilometers on a single set of tires. If you got Polish-made tires, they would last forever, for a very long time. Even when the cord was already showing, they still wouldn't blow out. What else about the car? Is it better than ours? No, it's not better at all. It's just about the same, maybe a bit neater. A 55-liter gas tank is classic, located right under the floor. Not the best spot, especially in Russia back in those days. The steering worm gear is like the one in the Volga, and a turning radius of 6.6 meters is nothing special. A 3-speed gearbox? An absolute anachronism. Well, it's fine for city driving, but second gear feels rubbery, third gear feels rubbery, but you really miss having a fourth. Have you seen a windshield made of 2 separate halves? It's huge, and you really feel like you're driving a bus, just a very small one. Honestly, it's actually more comfortable than our Raffics. No rear seat back, wide open space on the right, windows on both the left and right. You can see everything. It's like you're driving in an aquarium. And you can really breathe deeply in here. Honestly, if it didn't smell like oil and gasoline in here, I might actually cry. Everything feels so familiar, so rough around the edges. But that's exactly why we love old domestic vehicles. Even though this one's Polish, it's still ours. Once again, in the USSR, people really loved their cars. There weren't many of them, but still not too few here. The last Nysa rolled off the assembly line on February 3rd, 1994. In total, 380,575 units were produced. And a couple of years later, the FSD was bought out by the car company Daewoo. And in 1996, FSD officially ceased to exist. By the way, Daewoo also faded away when it came to passenger cars. A good car. A very good car for its time. Let me repeat, for its time. The hunt continues.